The unconscious side and the unconscious placements is really what sets human design apart from a lot of other systems because there's no unconscious part in the astrology or anything like that.
No.
It's all based on one calculation. And your human design is based on two calculations. Human design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, human design specialist.
And I'm Haley, the human design newbie. Listen in as we explore how leaning into your authentic self is your ultimate path to success. Welcome to the Human Design High podcast. Let's get into it.
Well, hello there, Haley. How you doing today?
Hello. We're
Good
here.
afternoon. We are here once again. And we just want to upfront make a little disclaimer or warning or whatever. If the audio quality seems a little off, Haley's having some connectivity issues with her computer. So she's having to coming in hot on the iPhone. The Zoom app on the iPhone. So she's not able to use her high quality microphone. So hopefully by the time you hear this, I will have tweaked it enough in the editing so it doesn't sound too awful, but I can make no promises. So, because it's not technically my job. I'm just a novice. I'm just an amateur when it comes to sound editing. So
Yes.
I'm an amateur at a lot of things, let's face it. Hey, I'm still doing it. I'm an editor. I'm an amateur podcasting, even though we've been doing it for 2 years. It's still just the two of us here, and mostly me. I don't mean like mostly me. I meant the editing was all me.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's always fun and an adventure trying to have a podcast that includes a co-host across the country and then guests. You're always like, oh gosh, I hope everything works out. And you try to remember when I've had guests, I try to remember to let them know to look here, look there. If the connection goes out, check your messages. Because as we know, I mean, my computer, I don't want to knock on wood. I don't want to make any noises here, but it sometimes just crashes in the middle of Zoom. So we're going to hope it doesn't do that today. But anyways, technology. It's great when it works. When it doesn't, we all feel it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was gonna say it's like you don't realize how much you rely on technology until you literally can't use it. Like if the power goes out, like that's where my brain went, like how dependent we are on some things, and you're like, well, what do I do now?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like here in the South, we've entered into hurricane season officially, even though I believe anymore it's year round. Who knows? We could have a hurricane anytime. But that's like you always hope, oh God, just please let us have some electricity after a storm. But then also every year as it starts to get hot, which, we've been really lucky so far this year for our weather. It's definitely summer, but it's not so bad as it can be right now. It can get unbearable. I keep waiting for the unbearable heat when I step outside. Right now it's just hot, but it doesn't like punch me in the face when I walk outside with humidity, big wet punch in the face. And it's been breezy, so it's been real nice. But I when I sleep, I'm kind of a light sleeper. So if I hear little things here now, wake me up. And I remember it was yesterday, I think, before I woke up, it was still early. I did hear the air conditioner unit turn on because it's right outside my bedroom window. But then it seemed to turn off really quick, like because it normally runs for 5, 10 minutes. I don't know how long it runs. And it turned off right away. I'm like, what happened? And I immediately like had the panic thoughts of like, oh my
God. Did it break?
Is it now?
Not have me see.
But then again, as long as you can do, it's livable without air conditioning until you can get it fixed. It's terrible, but without any, because you have ceiling fans like in every room practically. You try to have some kind of fan in a room, and man, you don't have any power. It's like I'm out.
So I
I
can't
don't
do
know what to,
anything.
I don't know what to do with myself. Okay. But yeah, so anyways, so it's interesting that technology, the internet, the Wi-Fi, these are things that we use, we rely on, we know they're there, yet we don't actually see them. We don't know, right? And that is my
Oh,
segue,
that is a good segue.
which is we're going to talk about the unconscious side of the chart today exclusively, which is the red side of the chart. So when you're looking at the body graph, you see the body graph in the middle, and then you see the numbers in black on the right side and the numbers in red on the left. And the difference is, Haley,
Well, the left is unconscious, the right is conscious, but
well, yes.
the right numbers come from the actual moment you were born,
Hmm.
and then the ones on the left, the unconscious, is roughly 3 months before you were born.
Correct. It's 88 degrees solar degrees, 88 degrees prior to when you're born. And that is whether or not you were born premature or not, it is always accurate, let's say, as long as you're the time that you have the date, the details for your actual separation from the mother
Mhm.
is accurate. Even if you don't have an exact time, it's still going to be correct placements for those. And so we've talked about this a little bit before, and we always throw around the terms unconscious and all that. So the origins of the system, what came through raw from the voice, which laid this
Mhm.
all out, the unconscious side and the unconscious placements is really what sets human design apart from a lot of other systems. Because even though this is it's not an actual cramming all these systems together independently. It is a little, they call it like a synthesis of them. They all kind of work together. But this is the very unique part of human design because there's no unconscious part in the astrology or anything like that.
No.
It's all based on one calculation. And your human design is based on two calculations. And so, why is that? Like, what do we call the unconscious side? What's other words we use for it?
That one, the vessel,
The vehicle, yeah.
the
Hmm.
vehicle, yeah.
Yeah, the vehicle,
So,
the body, it's the body side of the chart. And so, in the broadest terms, they call it the black is the personality side, the red is the design side, the conscious and the unconscious. And what the voice said is that there's this basically when the universe was created, it wasn't a birth of anything. It was more like the Big Bang was like a moment of conception. That there was this,
mm,
yeah, there was this ultimate. I mean, the voice said they were like eggs, but it was more like a crystalline structure. These crystals
okay.
collided, a yin energy and a yang energy, right? Created
Hmm.
that was the Big Bang, was these two coming together. Which it sounds weird, but I understand it and I can play with that concept because they say everything that is in the micro is in the macro and the macro is the micro,
Hmm.
and we could look at ourselves as just humans and a universe, and it's just this, we don't know what it is, right? We don't know what space is. Or you can look at it a way that the same way that there's trillions of cells in your body, those trillions of cells aren't always aware of what their bigger purpose is. They only know
Hmm.
what their own little purpose is, right? But it contributes some. So sometimes, I play around with the idea that all of creation, we are just these individual little cells. Like maybe collectively, we're just like a kidney. I don't know. In the
Oh,
big body of something. I don't know. Because we're always like, what is
it's
space? What is
fun.
it? What's containing it? What is it? Well, maybe one day maybe we won't know. But,
We're just a
anyways,
kidney.
you can quote that. And, well, it certainly helps you not take yourself so seriously if I'm just one of a trillion cells inside of a giant kidney inside of a bigger body. Who knows? And there we lost half the listenership. No, I'm just kidding. It's just an idea to play with. So, anyways, so there's these when this Big Bang occurred, it says these two crystals collided and they shattered, and all these fractals went out everywhere, and there's all these pieces, and that slowly it's they're all we're all pieces of these fractals, right? Okay. So there's the moment of conception, the at the moment of well, not at the moment of conception, several hours before conception, there is an energy signature that is being drawn forth from the father. Okay.
Mhm,
And this is the vehicle, the body side. Okay.
mhm.
And so if you want to go into more detail and hear a little bit more about that, because it's not really what I wanted to focus on was the process here. What I wanted to focus on was just the unconscious side. There is, if you go back and look through our past episodes, there's one called The Red and the Black, and it explains it a little bit better than what I'm doing right now. But basically, the concept is the red side of the chart, the design
Mhm,
side of the chart, represents the body, and the
mhm,
unconscious side, and it's called the vehicle. You said the vessel, but it's called the vehicle. And the black side is the passenger in the vehicle. Okay.
mhm,
So when they first started doing charts and stuff like that, they would actually draw a whole red chart and a whole black chart. But we have the technology now with the computer programs that kind of do all that for us. So that's how we see the red and the black lines on the chart.
mhm,
But if you go on like Genetic Matrix, they have a feature where you could just look at just your unconscious lines if it's too
mhm,
confusing for you, if you could just see where the red parts are. And so thinking about just the unconscious side of the chart, like why is there this unconscious side of the chart and what does it mean and is there anything you can do about it? And so like I said, the red is this vehicle used for this lifetime. It's like your life purpose. The black side, this is from Karen Curry Parker, is your soul purpose. And so, like I said, I like to think of it as like this vast everything that is you as a soul at the soul level. Like when you merge back into the whole, there was only little parts of you that came into this existence at this time in this body. And I believe that this is our existence in this world is kind of some people call it the school, some kind of school life. We're here to learn things.
mhm,
And I mean, they may even say in Christianity, God created man in order to experience himself. It's like, if you're all that is, how do you experience that? It's like,
mhm,
it's the big conundrum of mankind, this whole separation, believing we're separate from the source because we have to, or else, it's like if we don't know that, then we're just source again. You know what I mean? So it's like there's this
mhm,
vastness of us that wants to experience and maybe learn and grow certain aspects or just experience certain aspects of the whole. And so it comes into this very dense existence. Our universe is in our humanity, it's very dense energy.
mhm,
And so things take time here. There's no instant, there's actually is time here. There is no
mhm.
instant manifestation of everything. It is this slowed down version, but I digress. I'm sorry. I do that so much. Okay. So what's relevant here and why to talk about that
Mhm,
is, well, if it's unconscious, is it the same as subconscious? Not really. Yes and no. But why is it there? Why do we have these aspects and what can we do about it? Because
mhm,
there will be very hard lines saying there's nothing you can do. And in a way, that's true. Because Ra explained it, this analogy, another analogy.
mhm,
So if I didn't fully explain it already, the vehicle, the car, the personality, the passenger, the driver of the car is the magnetic monopole. This is why we use strategy and authority. This is what helps us line up. So if you think about what's a passenger supposed to do if they're in a nice car, limo, or whatever, being driven around, they don't try to tell the driver where to go. This is an Uber.
Mhm. Mhm.
Don't go that way. What happens? There's a lot of conflict. But if you just sit back and enjoy the ride, you're going to be driven to, led to the experiences that are best going to help you express yourself as you are and enjoy life and experience life as you were meant to. And so that's why human design is so much about listening to the body, right? We're always talking
Mhm.
about your inner authority, which is what is your body telling you? Don't use your mind past your consciousness. Let the body do what it does, respond to its environment, and be driven around by the monopole. And so, another thing that they talk about is the personality side, the consciousness side. You are aware of these parts of yourself. That's what we always say is that those are the parts that we identify with because we can see it more. It's more of it's who we think we really are, just that
Mhm.
part of us, but there's this whole other part of us that is also us. And they talk about how it's like if you imagine standing up on a hill and you're looking down and you can see all the roads and where all the roads go, and you know where the roads go, and you can see the cars traveling on the roads because you
Mhm.
have this view where you can see it. However, some of these roads also have tunnels. And so you can see a
Oh.
car go in the tunnel, you can see it come out of the tunnel, but while it's in the tunnel, you can't see it. Doesn't mean
Uh-huh.
it's not there and something isn't happening, but you in the moment don't know it. You can
Mhm.
see it afterwards.
Right.
So that's kind of what this experience here is on this red side because there's things that we do, behaviors we have, patterns we have that we're not always aware of, but then we're not really meant to be aware of them. We can
Mhm.
reflect on them. And like I said, that's why I've said many times as you get older, you could recognize these things in yourself, these certain aspects of yourself that maybe you don't when you're younger. However,
Mhm.
even when it's happening, you don't always know then in the moment it's happening because you don't have control over it. It's just happening. Does that make more
Right.
sense?
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. And so the vehicle is the body. Okay. So it shows you the red, the nature of your unconscious and what's going on underneath the surface, what's happening in the tunnel. Okay.
Mhm.
And so it is a place where we can have consistent energy, but we're not aware of it. So, especially if you look at, because both of us in our charts will look at, and some other people around us have channels that are fully unconscious, meaning
Mhm.
the two centers or the two gates that are activated in creating that connection are unconscious placements.
Mhm.
So, why it's interesting is that this is why you'll hear a lot that they say, like I just said, the personality side you're aware of, the unconscious side, those is things you're not aware of, but other people see it in you. Because when it's happening, you don't always recognize it,
Mhm.
right? But they can see it because it's behavior that you're doing.
Right. But like to you, it just seems like it's just natural because it's normal for you.
Yeah, and you don't have control over when it's expressing, how it's expressing.
Mhm.
You do have a little bit of control. I should back that up because if you're following your strategy and authority, then it's going to really be expressing in its way it should, let's say. Of
Mhm.
course, we know there's people that don't do that. There are people that are living just in shadow. And so there could be these unconscious shadow behaviors that are always at play as well.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
So, case in point, let's talk about me.
Okay.
So, what makes me an emotional generator is I have the channel 59.6 that connects the solar plexus to the sacral.
Mhm.
And I actually, if you could see it twice, you'd see it twice, but you only see it once because I have the 59 and the 6 twice on the unconscious side. Um,
Oh.
yeah. And so I often wonder about this and ponder this because this is known as the channel of mating. And it's a lot of themes about intimacy and all this other stuff in there. But it's also like the 59 is looking for, well, the whole channel has what they call urge to merge. Okay. And the 59 is really good at breaking down barriers with people because it is trying to bond, right? Because it is that young energy, it is more the male energy. And
Hmm.
so it is looking to the other to bond, it is looking to break down barriers, dispel fears, all that kind of stuff. It's seeing that in the higher expression of it, it is about knowing that relationships are vehicles for growth. And it does want to create intimacy as a way to create connection and fertility in any kind of relationship, whether it's in a
Hmm.
personal relationship for families or marriage, or if it's business or friendships or whatever, it's there. And so in its more shadow side, it's very closed off. It doesn't, it's more like it pushes people away, and
Ooh.
it's kind of low uh, self esteem, low self worth. And it expresses itself as like rejecting others before they can reject you,
Mm.
all this stuff, which
Right.
this is not where I am now. I don't think I am, but it is my South Node placement. And I would say earlier in life, I was a lot more like that before I was more self reflective, or less self aware. Did always feel like I was kind of like, I wasn't aware of my own impact on people. And a lot of times I'm still not. Like, I don't understand how this works for me. Like, I don't control it. Let's say it like
Hmm.
that. And so, and then the six on the other side is about, Gene Keys, he says this, the gift is like diplomacy. And it's about, in human design, it's a gate of friction. And so it is kind of this, it is this emotional energy looking for also, it kind of has an inborn fear of it. It's kind of suspicious of others. There can be some intolerance and stuff in there, but that's, we talked about that before. That's survival of the species there, is like being
Hmm.
a little bit,
Selective.
yeah, right. So, but anyway, so I didn't want to get too much, I didn't want to get mired down into the actual gate energies. What I want to talk about was that the urge to merge has a very attractive quality to it. It attracts people to it.
It's
And
an urge.
it's an urge. But it also can create a very comfortable, cozy feeling and paves the way for successful connections, successful uh, possibilities for creativity, whether or creation,
Hmm.
like new life or anything. So, what I found as I learned about this energy, because like I said, I don't fully identify with it. It is something that other people can observe. But one person, this was a couple years ago, I think she posted on social media asking about people who had this channel if they found that they got a lot of unwanted attention. And like from the opposite sex. And I was just like, yeah, when I was younger, for sure. And I'm still amazed now if I get any attention. I was like, the other day I was walking and someone honked at me. I'm like, me?
Oh my God, you got honked at?
Yeah, walking. I'm like, I got a lot of inappropriate attention. Now I was a young woman as well, but I did not do anything to, I mean, I looked weird, but I didn't look like a sexualized female. Like, I was
I
different.
remember you told me there was some guy or someone that said you got birthing hips, and you were like
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, that was my best friend's father. I was like 16. He would always come on my hips. I was like, you're making me very uncomfortable. I mean, he never made
Ah.
any moves on me, but it was just weird. But like, I remember I got really weird attention from men when really unwanted. I wasn't doing anything. It says that this energy can be misconstrued, of like if you give anybody any kind of attention, they could think you're flirting with them or inappropriate. Like this is the word. There's two over so bad. Was
Hmm.
once I was, this punked out kid, right? I was wearing this military looking trench coat. I was probably smoking a cigarette, standing, waiting for the bus to go home downtown. I am not approachable in the least. And I had some creep walk up to me and like offer me money to have sex. I was like, get the fuck away from me before I punch you in the
Oh
face.
my God.
And that's what always, I mean, not to say that's going to happen to you. Don't get scared if you have this channel. This is just me helping make sense of this unconscious energy that I had. And it also happened, I was pushing you two guys once in a stroller, walking over in Sienna Park when they were first building that. And one
Uh-huh.
of the landscapers or somebody did the same thing. I was like, I am pushing two children in a stroller. You think I'm going to go run in the
Oh,
bushes with you?
oh my God.
So that always confused me because I'm somebody that tries to, make my parents look good, but I'm not really trying to attract male attention. I
Hmm.
don't want their attention. Not like that for sure. But also, this is, like I said, it's not something that I have control over in the sense that I know that it also has been the thing that, or is the thing I think maybe that helps me get to know people faster. Or they feel comfortable around me. If now in this more evolved phase of my life that people quite often want to get into relationships, a little deeper relationships with me. They feel safe around me
Hmm.
and comfortable. That's what I usually hear. And since it's my only emotional connection, that's my definition. This
Hmm.
also helps me understand why I don't feel like a very emotional person because this is an unconscious energy in me.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that I don't have emotions, and it just means that I still have to wait for clarity over time, but it's been kind of hard and it still is hard to tap into that more because I don't really know where my wave is. A lot of
Right.
times I don't realize it until I try to maybe express. Like sometimes I've noticed when I've been with your dad, I might be somewhat, I think, bothered by something, but until like I actually try to speak it out loud to him, and then it just like, because his energy is in the room and we're just in the room together. And then it just can, because that's what this channel can do. It can just, it's relational. It actually is this physical touch proximity kind of thing, can get you more in touch with that wave and that energy and stuff.
Mm.
That's
Okay.
that's that's that. So if you do have like a channel that is creating your emotional definition, to be aware of that you may not know why you're feeling a certain thing. Like it may be completely elusive to you, but it could just be your emotional wave. So maybe looking into what emotional waves are and what emotional energy is and the purpose of all that and everything. But even if you're unaware of it, it does not change the fact that you're still emotionally defined and
Hmm.
that you still do have to find clarity over time. You just can't put your mind into it. It's not going to work. Well, it doesn't really work that way anyhow. So, of course, for you, you have a completely undefined channel, which is your
Hmm.
1858, which is what makes you a splenic projector.
Yes.
And so this is the energy that, like, we know we always talk about as channel judgment, like, oh, it's always getting me in trouble and everything. But really, this energy is about having a deep intuitive awareness, or knowing how to improve systems already in place, things already in place, because the purpose there is for collective. It's collective circuitry. So it's for all of humanity, they say,
Hmm.
but meaning it's not just personal to you, correction. That really the proper use of this is it puts you in places where you are able to share your ideas about it. Now, what's important is it's projected energy, this channel, this circuitry. And what I just said there was really important. It's when you're asked to share your energy or to share your perspective, because really you do have a very keen awareness of, and you're not even aware that you know it. Like you don't even have to think about it. A lot of times it could just, something could be in front of you and presented to you and you just know what's wrong, right?
Hmm.
And what could be improved, let's say. And so, as I said, it's meant to be worked out at the collective level of systems, not personally on yourself.
Hmm.
And that improvement is then makes everybody happier. It's used for everybody. And so somebody might say to you, well, how do you know that? Or how did you see
Mhm.
that? Or what do you, and would you know? I mean,
No.
you
I
don't
mean, like,
understand.
but I don't know. It just look better this way. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that may be called out in you more because the gate 18 aspect of that is in your north node. And so that means as you go through in life, that's going to become an even more of a focus in your life is the 18 part of it, correction, which 18's correction. I love the name of this one. It's called Work on What Has Been Spoiled.
Oh.
So another thing to point out for you in your chart, because
Hmm.
I think we talked about it last time, because we were talking about the programming partners, the
Yes.
45 and the 26. And that's that leadership energy. Like you said, you don't stand up and recognize yourself as a leader or say, hey, I want to be the leader. But other people see that in you, they call it out in you. And, or like you said, sometimes you just end up being the leader. You didn't intend
Yes.
to,
All
just
of college.
happens. Yeah. Like suddenly you're like, wait a minute, what the hell? Why am I the leader here? It's because others like, hey, Haley knows what to
She'll do
do.
it.
Haley'll do it. She can't help herself. They're all secretly human design ninjas who have all been like, wait, who should? Just kidding. But also, there's a lot of, I don't want to say there's a lot. I was looking at some of your other unconscious placements because even if it's not a channel, there's still these unconscious gates, right? And so this
Right.
energy is going to be something you're not necessarily aware of. And so I had to laugh when I was looking at both of our charts. I'm like, where is there something that you have it unconscious, I have it conscious?
Oh,
And the only place I could find, well, there's two actually, but the funny one that I was thinking about is your gate 34, which is in the sacral R.
yes.
And
Uh-huh.
it's individual power. It's for the individual.
Uh-huh.
Mine is defined and it's in a channel. It's in the 34/7. So it's an intuitive awareness of movement.
3410.
3457.
You keep
Me.
you keep
What did I say?
dropping a number. 7. You said
Maybe
34
it just didn't
7.
hear. Maybe it
I don't
maybe it
know.
just didn't.
Maybe
It was mine is the 34. It takes that
57.
yeah.
That,
34
yeah.
57. Dog leg, I think your dad would call it the dog leg turn or something like that. Anyways, so that is, I'm more consciously aware. Now, still that channel, that energy is still very fast. Like 34 energy is
Mhm.
very fast because it's, like I said, it's sacral power
Yeah.
of the self. Well, if I look at yours, so you have it conscious and unconscious, but it's in your Pluto,
Yeah, I was just
which
seeing that too.
we're not really aware of what's going on with Pluto too, because that's an outer planet. And I
Poor
had to laugh
Pluto.
because all I could think about is how your body just gets thrown around sometimes. You're a little clumsy. Like you don't know where your body is in space a lot of times.
Just yesterday, I was walking out of the bathroom and just completely ran into the door frame. I have walked out of this bathroom thousands of times probably at this point.
Well, your body was just moving. Your head wasn't involved at all. Your body was just like, we're out of here.
Pretty much. No
And
control over it.
couldn't catch up. But there's a door there. But then you are going to be, it is going to unconsciously move. Like it will unconsciously, like suddenly, just not suddenly, like you're like spastic. But I just think about like when you played volleyball, you would just throw yourself everywhere. It's like you weren't thinking about how much it was going to hurt when you landed. Your body was
Yeah.
literally reacting. And it was just like, there's the ball. I need to go.
Can't touch the ground.
I think my conscious energy is a little more aware of where my body's moving. And I know that I may need to do that, but let's think for a minute.
Like,
But I mean, I
whoa.
also, it is still very quick energy. Like it is my instincts and it is like,
Mhm.
for me, bundled with intuition. So it has a little more awareness to it. Yours does. But I think about that a lot. It made me laugh because I was thinking about that. Also, like your dad, 3420, his is unconscious. It's his unconscious sun and earth,
Oh.
3420. Yeah. Yeah, we go. We all
Oh.
have it collected. Yeah, his unconscious sun is 34 and Earth is 20. So we
Mhm.
know that's the manifesting generator channel. And we know that your father just tends to, he's always moving.
Yeah.
And he's a lot like you sometimes too, in the sense that he'll come around and be like, geez, look what I did to myself this time, with things all over his hands because he's just like moving. But he, being a manifesting generator as well, movement is good for him. It's natural for
Mhm.
him, but he literally, even faster than, or more unaware than if that was a conscious connection, will just suddenly be gone.
Yeah. You're just sitting, you're like, did he
I
leave
can't
gone?
tell you how many times we've been in a restaurant and we're talking and then just stands up and walks away and he comes back. I'm like, so did you have to use the restroom? Like, what was that all about?
Every time he'll just disappear.
Yeah. But the thing is, he isn't thinking I need to tell someone. His body just moves him and says, go
Mhm.
here, go there, do this, do that. That's what he does. And I could see that in him now. I understand that a little bit better. So it's a little bit easier to deal with. I was looking at your husband as well.
Mhm.
He has one unconscious channel, which is the
Okay.
2838, which is the channel of struggle. And that connects the root to the spleen as well.
Mhm.
And I was curious about this because I'm like, well, how would this play out? Because he's definitely not someone who's like thinking that much about all this stuff like we are, or I am,
Mhm.
maybe just me. But this channel, not just looking at the gates, but this channel is very individual. And it's
Mhm.
very much about going your own way and defying the odds and finding meaning and purpose in the struggle. Like your struggle in life gives life purpose and meaning. It's a
Mhm.
very stubborn individualism.
Mhm.
And he doesn't always see that about himself, I don't think. He's just like, this is just how everybody is. No, it's not.
Mhm.
But he I don't think he understands his how um I don't think he understands his impact of how individual he is. I don't know.
Mhm.
That may just be me. He also has the 14-2, which is partially conscious, but it's mostly unconscious. And so what's interesting there, if I think about that, the 14-2, the beat, it is having the resources following the direction of the self and doing what makes you happy is your
Mhm.
path to fulfillment and abundance. And he kind of gets that, but he also thinks he has to work at other things. Like he enjoys his work. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that realm, sometimes he the system is like structured like that. He might see it as too risky. Does that make sense?
I don't know if he sees it as too risky. He sees it as a waste of time. Like if it's not directly propelling him forward,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't want to do it basically. Like if it's not giving him some kind of benefit, like physical benefit or it's for work, he almost doesn't want to do it.
But benefit is not the same as enjoyment, or is it?
Yeah, because like he'll go out, he wants to go ride his bike, he likes to ride his bike. It gives him physical
Mm-hmm.
benefit and he likes to do it. So he will do that. But then like other things, like I'm trying to like I'll try to like if I want to listen to a true crime podcast in the car when we're on a trip, no.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
wants nothing to do with it because it does
Well,
not
I don't.
benefit him.
Well, that's he just doesn't want to. He's also like, no, I don't want to do that. But it may make him all this because we've said how individual he is and his a lot of his individual well geez when I'm looking at him there is a lot of the gates and everything obviously are in these individual placements, so
Mhm.
he isn't really aware of how his individuality and his way of doing things his way can also create, well, it's a good thing, but it could
Mhm.
also create issues around him. But
Mhm.
you also know that, and you know a little bit more now, that these are unconscious behaviors of his. He's not intentionally trying to be insensitive or
Hmm.
any of those things. Because I think you have, I mean, you guys have been together for like 8 years. So if he was
Almost
completely,
9.
almost 9, if he was completely insensitive and all this other stuff and didn't listen to you at some point,
Hmm.
it wouldn't work. You like,
Yeah.
this has been spoiled.
Yeah. But I do a lot of times feel like he is just in his own world. Like, I know that he does care about me, obviously, but it doesn't always come across that way. And like,
Hmm.
he is just very much individual because I am like always wondering, not always, but like, I'm trying to include him in things or wondering what he's thinking, or like, I'm focused
Hmm.
on him and I don't always feel that reciprocated. And I understand that that's because of his individuality, but it still does
And it's your
cause friction.
projectorness. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is your projectorness of like focusing on the other, like,
Hmm.
why can't he focus on me? I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice to have a projector in your life that's thinking about you, I must
I.
say. But so another thing I think was interesting is since I have, or we have these people in our family with that 4323, what's funny is Ian has it consciously, the channel.
Hmm. Okay.
Lakeland's is unconscious. And I was listening to Richard Beaumont talk about this and on YouTube, and he was talking specifically about observing somebody with the conscious and the unconscious talking to each other, having an argument or discussion,
Mhm.
and how it plays out. The same channel, consciously or unconsciously, so clearly plays out in Ian and Lakeland when they talk to each other sometimes because, you know, she definitely has unique perspectives. She can express them. I think it comes out in different ways. It's also, I think, visually she can do stuff. It's a little bit,
Mhm.
she doesn't always, she's not aware that she has this ability. Whereas Ian, if those two get in a conversation, so often she tries to express one of these unusual thoughts or something she was thinking about. And he's so quick, like you've said it yourself, he's so quick on
Mhm. A
like,
comeback. It's like
yeah, he has it
a
right there
joke, a
every time.
comeback, like a fact. I don't know how he does it.
It's that conscious 4323 because you have 43 unconscious. You don't have the full
Mhm.
channel. So you've got these, we call them your Haleyisms. They just pop out every now and then. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
but I can see her, if they get into an argument, it's so much harder for her to prove her point and get it across because she doesn't know how, she's not aware that she can do it. Whereas he has more in tune with how that works and he understands it a little bit better, if that
Mhm.
like he has more availability to him. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know what it is in me and Presley that plays that out, but it's the
Hmm.
exact same way. Like he can have a fact or like he has a response to if we're in a discussion or an argument or whatever. And it's so frustrating for me because I can't get out what I'm trying to say, or I can't ever remember any kind of past experience that
Hmm.
helps me bring up my point.
Hmm.
So then I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I could look at it like this. So his definition in his head in Ajna is that 6124, that knowingness, and it's conscious. Okay.
Of course.
Whereas your definition in the head in Ajna 6447,
Hmm.
that abstract. So you've got the ideas, but the 47 part of it in the Ajna is an unconscious placement. So it's kind of like I have the 4323, 43 is conscious, 23 is unconscious. I'm not aware. I ask you all the time, am I making sense? Right? I
Hmm.
don't know if I'm making sense if it's just me. Right? I need reflection. And it needs to be called out of me. But
Hmm.
so, and also you have gate 61, same as Presley does, but it's unconscious. So it's like, it is, you can't quite get there. I can
Hmm.
understand why that would be more confusing because for him, he can bring it right in. He can
Yeah.
just like, he's got the concept, he can bring it through, right?
Hmm.
Whereas, like you said, I can't draw on things that I can remember, and that's what that is helping you do, that unconscious placements in your head, I mean in your ajna, because all of your negates are unconscious placements. So it's like you have a connection, but they're unconscious. So it's a little bit harder to access.
It's a little bit more of a fog to get through.
Yeah. So as I'm going to ask you with my unconscious 23, and getting an understand of how this unconscious side works.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
what do you do about it? Well, like I said, if you are, it's it's something that, as I said, as you look back or you can reflect, you can see these instances, but to just understand that as they're happening in the moment, it's not something you're ever going to be able to control. And so just accept that it's there. And it can be very beneficial because, like I said, if I just trust that this energy is there and I follow my strategy and authority, mostly being like for you, waiting for that invitation, or if
Hmm.
it's in like we were talking about those projected channels, if you know that it's something that needs to be called out of you, then you know that that energy will show up whether you do anything about it or not. It's just going to be there. And
Hmm.
your monopole is going to drive you, keep you, if you're using your strategy and authority, meaning you're making decisions according to what your body is telling you, go this way, go that way, do this, do that, not overthinking. It's going to put you in these places that will help these energies expressed in their best and fullest potential. And also, I want to say that what we were talking about relationships, it can be really helpful in relationships if you look at people that you know and love or that you've had issues with. You could say, well, maybe there's these placements that I've blamed them for certain behaviors and I've said, why can't you do this? Why can't you change that? We're always trying to like change people, but how can you change something that you don't know in the moment that you're doing? You can reflect that. It's not like giving somebody a pass to be an asshole all the time. But
Right.
like I said, with your dad with that 3420, sometimes he's just doing things without, it's not that he doesn't care about me or he doesn't think I'm
Hmm.
important,
He's
but
not
there,
he's not leaving you out on purpose.
no. And he's just kind of following along wherever his body's throwing him around that day. And he's not aware of it. And so I think that's what human design and knowing about people around you does for every aspect in relationships. Once you can see yourself in the design and understand that, oh, yeah, this feels true for me, it must feel true for other people as well, if they were aware of it. And it has helped, certainly, me give your dad a lot more grace and things that I used to get so worked up about, you
Hmm.
know, like not letting me know when he's coming home that he makes 3 stops on the way. He didn't always know he was going to do that. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't intending to piss me off. He was just like, "Oh,
Hmm.
I got to go do this. Oh, I got to go do that. Oh, I forgot to do this because he's a manifesting generator. Oh, I left my wallet back at the dock." All these things that he's an hour half late. But let me tell you a little secret about that. This is so off topic, but not really. Another thing is we share our location on our phones now, so now I don't
Yes.
have to wonder and bother if he's like on his way home or wherever. I'm
Hmm.
not spying. I only look to see where he is if I need to know if he's going to be here soon. Like, are you coming home or not? Like, that's all I need to know. Are you heading away? It's like a siren. Wee, woo, wee, woo. Is it coming towards me or moving away from me? I can plan accordingly. But yeah, so I just thought that was a fun little thing to look
Hmm.
at and play with. Well, okay then, Haley, you know what that means.
The incarnation cross of the week.
That is correct. Correcto mundo. It is time for the incarnation cross of the week. Today, we have a juxtaposition cross. I spun the wheel of destiny. I literally closed my eyes and hit the scroll button on my mouse, and it came up with the juxtaposition cross of grace. So, if you were born under this cross, well, it means one thing in particular,
You
position
are a
cross.
you are 4-2, and that's
No,
4-6, 6
no.
4-1.
That's hilarious. There is no 4-2. There is no 6-4. You panicked.
So 4-1.
That
Okay.
unconscious knowing of yours was like, sorry, I asked you too fast. I didn't give you time.
I knew there was a
Yes.
4.
Yes. If you have a juxtaposition cross, such as myself, you are 4-1. And so this is, if this is your cross, it's like winning the lottery today because we picked your cross and there's many of them. There's not many 4-1s out there, like 2% of the population, I think. So the sun is in gate 22, the personality side, conscious side. Sun is in gate 22, earth is in gate 47. On the unconscious side, your sun is in gate 11 and the earth is in gate 12. And even though not many people have these juxtaposition crosses, there's literally one for each gate, basically.
Mhm.
It also helps you really get a good idea of what that leading sun gate, meaning the leading gate being the conscious sun gate, kind of what the real theme there is for that gate in particular, because it's a
Mhm.
very big theme in this person's life. So the
You
energies of the gate. So
you didn't give me any of the names.
you're right. Sorry. So 22, openness.
Mhm.
47, realization. 11, which is on the unconscious side. 11, ideas. 12, caution.
Okay.
Openness, realization, ideas, caution. Okay. So if you were born under this cross, you have a special gift for truly listening and connecting with people on a deep level. Your attentive and genuine nature makes others feel heard and valued, which builds trust and openness. This quality is particularly useful when meeting new people, as they quickly notice your sincerity and dedication. Your mission is to understand and teach the connection between mindset and creativity. You use the power of mindset to foster a strong link to the flow of information, inspiration, and ideas. You are a source of ideas that enhance and inspire creativity in others, always receiving insights that provide answers and guidance. Your role is to educate others about the importance of mindset in the creative process. And by showing how a positive and open mindset or outlook can unlock a wealth of potential, and you encourage others to access their own ideas and inspirations.
Mm. Always so
Thank
good.
you. Always so good. Yes. So, and leading on that 22, even though this is openness, also the channel's grace thing, other places call it grace as well. The openness, that 22. So that's it. Oh my God, we made it. We made it through. We made it through another episode, Haley.
We did
You
it.
never you never know what's gonna happen. I will say one thing, they also talk about Ra Urahu. He had the 2343 unconscious, and he would always say that he didn't know what he was gonna say, that he would just like, this is what I'm gonna talk about and show up and talk. And quite frankly, transcriptions show that a lot of times you have no
Yeah.
idea what he's saying.
It's sometimes word salad.
Yeah. And I've read other people's experiences of like doing better when they do just kind of talk off the cuff and don't prepare too much, which is what happens with me quite often too. And so we never know where this meandering show is going to go sometimes, but and while it's happening, while we're doing it, I'm always like I feel like it's just a mess. But then I do go back and I have to edit it, and some of the things are a little off topic, but I'm like, oh, okay, I can hear it now. I can't hear it when I'm delivering it, but I can hear it later on that, oh, I guess, yeah, I guess it gets the point across. So I hope we were able to do that today. So now maybe don't fault me all the time when I
Yeah.
say, I hope they find value. It's like, I just don't know, Haley. I
And
just
I
got to
tell you
trust
every
it.
time, yes, that makes
That's
sense.
right. You can reflect it back to me and tell me it does. So I appreciate that. And
And
so anyways,
I ain't
hmm?
gonna lie to you about it. But I ain't gonna lie to
Oh.
you about it.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. And until next time, talk to you later, Haley. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.